opinions and views expressed in the following program are those of the speakers and the host, and do not necessarily reflect those of Yoakley Scott Corporation and your sports network. And welcome inside a Friday episode of Running Point, everybody. We are so happy you are joining us here on Running Point, proudly brought to you. Sorry, I actually dropped my camera the other days. Yesterday. So trying to readjust everything. I always have it just right, like just where you want it. And yesterday it fell off the table, and I have to find where I want it again. It's really messing with my OCD brain today. But thank you so much for tuning in anyway, right? To Running Point, brought to you by Greenwood Chevrolet in Austintown. Anthony Hartwig here with you. We are so happy that you came aboard with us today. It's an exciting day, right? It's the first Friday of the high school football season. We've been waiting for this for a while. We've been talking about it for a while. Almost Friday. I think some people probably had their little paper chains counting down the days, right? Until football Friday. You know, Dana Balish has been counting down this day on his Twitter. It feels like since the spring. How many Fridays left until high school football? Zero Fridays now. We are here. It is Football Friday. We had football kick us off yesterday. We had some really awesome games, some thrillers, a last-second touchdown, a lot of fun stuff, fun volleyball as well to drive us into the weekend. Just a lot of really fun stuff happening on today's episode of Running Point. We will start with a recap of yesterday's action. We'll pop in the scoreboard on ysnlive.com, presented by our good friends, and hopefully your good friends too, Burnett Pools, Spas, and Hot Tubs. Burnett Pools, but I know they got it all. And make sure to check them out if you want a pool maybe for next summer. You know, I've said it before. You get one now, you can't really use it too much this summer. It's kind of the days are winding down, but then you have something to tangibly look at throughout the cold, long 6-month winter. It'll give you a little bit of a promise that summer will come, that warm will come again if you're a warm weather person like I am. Burnett Pools is the sponsor of the YSN Scoreboard. It can be found at ysnlive.com/scores. So here we go. We'll start with our football scores. Crestview and Western Reserve dueling off, and Western Reserve looked really good, very dominant, 27-9. The final score there in that one. A great win for Western Reserve. How about Walsh Jesuit and Ursuline putting on a show at Stambaugh Stadium? And when you look at this game, Walsh had a lead. Ursuline tried to come back, fell just short. 37-35, your final score. Howland finally gets off the schnob, get a win to break the losing streak in the program, and they hope that will excel them to a great and glorious return to Howland football. 28-0. They beat their backyard rivals. I mean, if you don't know, Howland takes the Niles game and Niles takes the Howland game very seriously. This is a very old, very fueled rivalry. So to get this win and to be, this is the one that breaks the losing streak. This is the one that gets us the win. It's got to mean the world to everyone, not just in the program, not all the players, not just all the coaches, but the community, the alumni, to have this be the win that hopefully propels them to a lot of success. It's got to just feel like on cloud nine right now if you're a Howland Tiger. A big win for them. The shutout victory, 28-0 over the Dragons. We go into Liberty, a wild one. Warren JFK. How about opening the season with a 90-yard kickoff return? No big deal there. JFK was up 22-6 at one point. They had to fend off a 13 unanswered point rally by Liberty, but they did it. They get the win, 22-19 on the road. A big win for the Eagles there against the Leopards. And I said at the top of the show, we had a walk-off touchdown. It only took us one night to get it, and it was Conneaut walking off Grand Valley with a touchdown as time expired. I mean, usually you wait a whole season and maybe you don't even get a game like that. We got it week 1. And Jackson Milton looked phenomenal in their win over Matthews. The defense was playing well. The offense did whatever they wanted to, especially on the ground. They get the win 24-6 over Canton McKinley. And Canton McKinley. Matthews. Jackson Milton did not beat Canton McKinley. They beat Matthews. Got one game ahead of myself. Warren Harding fell to Canton McKinley by the final score of 26-19. So a 7-point game for that. So most everything was a close game. You had a couple of ones that weren't handled, but a lot of close games in day 1 of the season. We go into volleyball and we talk about this. How about the game I was at, Fitch and Lakeview? This was one that I think as soon as it's released on the schedule, all the volleyball fans circle. They've been playing each other for a couple of years now, ever since they've been, powerhouses in the area. And as soon as they release the date, you kind of just say, okay, this is going to be a really good game. And it lived up to the hype. It absolutely did. It was back and forth. It was up and down. Fitch came out one set one. Lakeview bounced right back and won the second set handily, 25-13. You feel like, man, who's got the momentum? I don't even know. Fitch comes back, wins a very good set in set 3, 25-23. I mean, nail-biter set. And then you have Lakeview come back and handily win the fourth, 25-13 again. And then in the fifth set, though, Fitch did enough. Fitch got it done. 15-11, your score in set 5. Fitch wins 3-2. Both teams have a lot of talent that I was impressed by. Both teams have setters that was very impressive. I mean, when you have a combined 87 assists by 2 setters in the game, you know that you're looking at something special. Mallory Mylock with 50 assists in the day for Lakeview. Riley Simons, had a great day with 37. You look at that and you go, wow, man. And then the records that were broken, you have Mallory Mylock breaking the career record for aces in a career at Lakeview. She's at 162 and counting now. Milestones last night, Kylie Folkwine and Riley Simons on the Fitch side, both eclipsing 100 career aces. They're trying to fight each other to see who will be the one with the most at the end of the season. We'll see. At the end of their career, I should say. We'll see. It's phenomenal. They're only juniors, right? And then I was impressed with some of the newer faces that were stepping into big roles. Not new faces, especially for Kayliana Ray, not new to this team. She had a role last year, but a bigger role as the lead middle, right? This year, she was really good. They ran her with slides, with no hesitation. Really was impressed by her day. Katie Welch, who is a new stepping into new shoes, and when you have to replace Jordan Smith, that's a big shadow to replace, right? So she did a really good job, and I was impressed by Fitch. 3-2, and they get the win over Lakeview. We go into Howland. They defend the castle. They win again 3-0. Mooney gets the win over Cheney, 3-0 in a sweep. Very good game going on in Jefferson as the Falcons beat Eastlake North in 5 sets, 3-2. We have East getting the win over North, 3-0. So the compass points east for the Bears. Wyndham gets their first win of the season. They finally break through. They win over Badger 3-1. Springfield gets the 5-set victory over Camel 3-2, a big one for the Tigers in a thriller of a game. Brookfield, they fall to champion 3-0 to start the season. 3-1, that's the first league victory for the Flashes. South Range falls to Hubbard 3-0. The last two sets, 25-23. So Hubbard was able to pull out a couple of close sets in order to secure a sweep. In South Range, in the Thriller Dome, a hard place to play. Hubbard does it and gets the win. One that we were all looking forward to, LeBray and Garfield, but Garfield did not let this game live up to the hype. They sweep the Vikings 3-0, and I thought this game was going to be closer. And Garfield, they surprised me with the way they played last night. Very good volleyball happening in Garrettsville. Pymatuning Valley falls to Ashtabula Lakeside 3-1, your final score there. The Dragons get the win. Sebring falls to Lordstown in 4 sets, 3-1. We have Mineral Ridge. They go, and their game was moved, I should say, a schedule adjustment. They will play on, what's the 26th? Monday at home against Lowville, so that game got bumped. So we'll have to wait a little bit longer for that. Same thing with Poland. Their game got moved to October 10th, so that game not happening until October. Same thing with Newton Falls, postponed with Southeast until September 9th. So 3 games in a row there that were bumped off the schedule to later dates. Girard got the win over Struthers in straight sets, 3-0 to open up their NE8 play. United was postponed to September 24th, which is Saturday, which is tomorrow. And then Boardman, how about an impressive win for the Spartans in 4 sets over West Branch? It's a big win for Boardman. They had a couple of very competitive but losses nonetheless to really good teams coming into that West Branch game. West Branch, a high-level opponent. Boardman is able to go and get the win at home, protect home floor against a very good team. So that was impressive for Boardman to be able to finally break through and get the win there. We go to boys soccer. Louisville and Girard play to a draw, 2-2, the final score there. Edgewood beats Pymatuning Valley 5-1 on the boys' side. And United cruises past Heartland Christian 10-1, your final score there. One game on the girls' side. It's the rivalry. It's blue versus red. It's Beaver Local East Liverpool, and the Beavers have all they wanted to do what they were able to in this game. 11-1, they get the win over the Potters. So that does it for the scoreboard recap here on Running Point. We will bring the scoreboard back in a little bit and talk about the games that are going to happen tonight. Obviously, Football Friday. We are so excited for it. We'll talk about all the football action coming up in a minute. But first, we're going to take a commercial break, hear from our sponsors, and be right back on Running Point, brought to you by our good friends over at Greenwood Chevrolet in Austintown.
21 News delivers the news as it happens, using the latest technology from where it happens.
Live here outside the Mahoney County.
On air, online,
Wednesday afternoon weather update.
Very dangerous.
and on the 21 News social media platforms.
I'm on the road right now.
21 News, the Valley's only locally owned source for trusted news since 1953.
Craftsmanship to us is 60 years of pride and dedication.
Passed down from generation to generation.
The hardwood floors that your kids take their first steps on.
The solid wood doors you quietly close at night.
The things we create day in and day out are the products that end up turning your house into a home.
At Baird Brothers Fine Hardwoods, uncompromising quality and craftsmanship built our business.
And it will keep us moving forward for generations to come.
Going the extra mile at Greenwood Chevrolet means we want to take care of the community that takes care of us too.
And we have to work together always. And that's how you stay in business for 40 years.
You know, I love being a helper because when I help somebody, it makes me feel good.
means a lot that I can make a difference in others' lives.
So I will do everything I can and just being there for them every step of the way.
I want them to know within the first 5 minutes that they could depend on me. That's what going the extra mile means, only at Greenwood Chevrolet.
Before the lights come on, before the workday begins, before a long day is ended, or it's time to have fun, it all starts with the people at Joe Dickey Electric. From replacing a light fixture in your home to building a substation for your business, no job is too big or too small. The people of Joe Dickey Electric power them all. Joe Dickey Electric, over 60 years of powering the Mahoning Valley.
Now you can see every school, to the smallest school, to the intermediate schools, to the schools in the outlying areas. It gives you coverage that you could just never get to before. It's something that's great to experience, and it's opened up a whole new wave of sports viewership. The possibilities are endless here at YSN. Push the envelope every day. Try something new. If it works, great. If it doesn't, well, let's try another angle, and we just keep moving forward. My name is Mike Ackelson, and my sports network is your sports network.
What can you do on over 5,000 acres? At Mill Creek Metro Parks, you can discover unique habitats and wildlife, create memorable family moments, experience history, heritage, and park programs, explore scenic landscapes, take time to relax and be well, connect with nature and each other. Come see what's new at Mill Creek Metro Parks. Plan your trip now at millcreekmetroparks.org.
Going the extra mile at Greenwood Chevrolet means taking care of our local customers.
And it's just a great feeling to put them in a vehicle and get them all excited about a new vehicle.
At the end of the day, our goal is to be someone our customers can count on.
And every day I'll go the extra mile for the community so they can trust us.
To do anything that would convenience the customer or make them feel more at home.
Realizing, number one, that we're here for them and that we're not going to go away.
That's what going the extra mile means, only at Greenwood Chevrolet.
And welcome back to Running Point on ysnlive.com, brought to you by those people you just heard from. Greenwood Chevrolet in Austintown, they do go the extra mile for you. We try to do the same here on this show every single day, and one of the ways we do that, of course, is our interviews and our player profiles that will be featured Monday through Thursdays on the show. We thank you so much for tuning in to this Friday episode, though, which is really dedicated to talking about football, right? For the next 10 weeks plus. It's all going to be about the king of sports in the area, right? We're going to go right back into our scoreboard, talk about the games tonight. You'll be able to see the Power Hour Super Show a little bit later on at 3 o'clock today, where DJ and a lot of our announcers and personalities will be on talking about these games and making their picks. But here we're going to kind of break down the games that are going down, the ones that will be broadcasted, who will be broadcasting them, and we'll just get my thoughts on them too as well. So here are your football games. As you can see, there's a lot of them. We'll break down the whole list first, and then we'll go back and talk about them. Beaver Local, they are opening the season by traveling to Struthers. That's an interesting matchup. I think I like it. You know, Canfield and West Branch, we're used to this one opening the season. They've done that for a couple of years now in a row. East Liverpool, they'll be hosting Carrollton tonight. Columbiana, they're traveling to Lowville. We have Perry going to Madison. Steubenville going to Garrettsville Garfield. Euclid will be going to Fitch. Girard going to Jefferson, an old NE8 matchup being renewed there. We have Brookfield going to Hubbard. Boardman hosting Kenson. Lakeside will go to Eastlake North. McDonald going to Champion. We have Cardinal Mooney opening the season by hosting Lake Catholic. Middle Ridge goes to Pymatuning Valley. We have Louisville, I should say, hosting New Philadelphia. East Palestine will be at home against Newton Falls tonight. We have Cheney. They're going to be playing Akron East. Salem goes to Poland and a very interesting local matchup. Springfield going to South Range. Everyone knows about that rivalry. It's being played for another time tonight. Southern Local will be hosting Union Local, so that's two locals going up against each other. United on the road to start the season. They will go to Minerva. We have Fairport Harding going to Latonia. Wyndham going to Lisbon tonight. That should be a fun one in Lisbon. We have LeBray hosting Lordstown. Waterloo will be hosting Akron Springfield. We have Lakeview. They'll be playing Holy Name. Archbishop Hoban, they're hosting Spalding out of, what's that, Maryland? MD. I had to see if that was an MD or an MO. I had to be careful about that. So out of Maryland coming in to play Hoban. Two Archbishops going at it. We have Southeast going to Garfield. That's Kenmore Garfield, by the way. That is not a misprint on the logo. Kenmore Garfield Rams hosting Southeast. We have Campbell Memorial opening the season on the road against St. Thomas Aquinas. We have Mohawk going to Neshannock. Orange going to Beechwood. Valley Christian going to Malvern tonight as well. That is the slate of games on a Friday. As you can see, we're what, 4 games per level. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So 8 times 4 is 32. 32 games featuring YSN family schools happening tonight. So it's busy, right? We'll have the audible call as well at 7 o'clock. And that'll be a place where you can, if you're just a football fan, want to stay updated on all these games, but don't want to flip through them yourself, we will be there with Mike Ackelson. We'll flip through the games for you. We'll make sure you get all the scores and all the big highlights from tonight as well on the audible call. Make sure to tune into that. But here, let's talk about some of these matchups. You know, Beaver Local traveling to Struthers. That's an all YSN matchup. The one that I think is pretty intriguing. I think when you talk about Struthers this year, you talk about the Wildcats, you talk about a team that looks maybe preseason the most poised to be that one that gives South Range trouble in the NE8. You know, the favorites are South Range. You got to say that until someone proves otherwise. They've been the favorites in the conference. They're going to be the favorites. You don't take away that respect from them until someone proves that they earned it. But right now, it seems like Struthers, I'm looking at him. I'm looking at Coach Bayek, watching his coach's corner with Sam Bellino, by the way. Great job to him. Shout out to Mr. Bellino for doing that awesome interview. First coach's corner conducted on YSN, and it was a great one. But you look at that Struthers team, and you look at how they're coached and how they're put together, and just the grit they have. You know, a couple of seasons ago, very rough season where things just wouldn't fall their way. Last year, they looked really improved, and I think they're a very hungry team this year. And I'm excited to see what they do against Beaver Local, who's very experienced. They lost a lot of seniors 2 years ago, so they're bringing back a lot of guys that were kind of thrown into the shark pool last year. They have a great offense, like they always do. Now we just have to see, like, can Beaver Local's defense really hold up? Can they not get into as many shootouts as they did last year? Struthers is going to be that team, I think, that is going to try to slow this game down. They're more of a slow-tempoed offense, and Beaver Local more of a passing style offense with Austin Klein back behind the circle, behind the center. So it's gonna be a fun one. I think this is one of those ones that we always talk about. They have conflicting tempos. Who controls the tempo the most? Who really controls the clock? That's gonna be the one that gets to win. When we go to this next one, West Branch and Canfield, one of the games that I think everybody's probably talking about. You're going to hear it talked about a lot in the Power Hour as well. I'm going to keep my thoughts to it kind of brief. Because of that, I don't want to have what Canfield West Branch fatigue by the end of the night. There's so much, oh man, we're not even want to watch the game anymore. So there's people talking about it so much. I think that happens on ESPN a lot in college football. I think that's like, man, talking up this game so much, I kind of lost my interest in it. So I'm just going to keep it short and brief. with this Canfield game and West Branch. I think it's one where there's a lot of question marks for both teams. What does Canfield look like under new management? Coach Ignacio, coming up, taking the reins. We had a coach's corner with him. What does that look like? What kind of things does he? Anytime you change coaches, you're going to have question marks. And then West Branch, whether they're fair to have him or not, because of the past and because of what West Branch has done with new quarterbacks, still a question mark. What's Jeremiah Thomas going to look like back there? How's he going to handle his first game under center and filling the shoes of what Bo Alazas was able to do last year as their quarterback and what Judah Shields was able to do before him? So you just kind of wonder what it'll be. I have every confidence in the world. I've said that before about West Branch. They have a environment that is built for quarterbacks to thrive, and he has a great receiving core, a lot of talent. All the skill positions are right there for him. I think really when talking about Jeremiah Thomas, he has to just not be the one that beat themselves, right? Like if he goes out there and plays clean football, he's got enough weapons around him that I think he'll be fine. And I think he can really get his feet wet. It's at West Branch, so you're gonna have to play on the grass if you're Canfield instead of your home turf. That'll be interesting to see as well. But I'm very intrigued by this game. It'll be talked about a lot. We'll hear what the Power Hour crew has to say about it. Carrollton East Liverpool, that's going to be a fun one in the Potters place. I'm looking at this East Liverpool team. Last year, I think they made strides, and I expect them to continue to make strides. They're big, they're physical, they're going to pound you around. That's East Liverpool football. It's always been East Liverpool football, especially when they were good. They're going to be a physical football team. They're going to try to run the ball on you. They're going to make you feel like you played East Liverpool in the morning, right? And Carrollton will have to respond to that. But I think Carrollton, even though they're not a YSN team, they're in the EBC, very sneaky. This EBC has been kind of down the last couple of years, right? Especially outside of West Branch and Salem. Salem was really, really good a couple of years ago and 2 years ago, and they had a transition year last year, probably really good again this year. But outside of them, the rest of the EBC struggled a bit to really build solid football programs in the last couple of years. Carrollton's one of those teams, though, that I think right there. Alliance, they had definitely their glimpses last year as well, but they lost their superstar quarterback. I think Carrollton has a really good chance to be a really good football team, so don't sleep on those Warriors outside of the EBC if you're a West Branch or Salem fan. Columbiana and Lowville. Ooh, this one's fun. Lowville, quarterback not named Malone for the first time in a long time. Vinny graduated 2 years ago, and then Michael stepped in during his senior year last year. There were two different quarterbacks, but both had success doing what they did. I don't think the style of offense is going to change for Lowville. I think they're still going to be that team that relies on big plays and relies on athleticism outside. They still got big athletic guys in the skills position, which are just matchup nightmares. So I'm really interested to see how Columbiana's defense, which is traditionally very good, very strong, how they're going to match up with the big speed. You don't usually mix big and fast together, right? But Lowville does. Lowville has big guys that are also pretty athletic, and they're matchup nightmares. So I'm really interested to see what Columbiana does to counter that. Coach Spate, if anyone can counter it, it's him. He's kind of remarkable in his ways of coaching. Perry, welcome to the YSN family. Can't wait to see what you have in store for us, the reigning state champions. They're going to Madison to open up the season. I want to say, man, we're so excited to have you aboard, especially for football. Can't wait to see what you do. Edgewood's offense against Garfield's offense. This will be fun because, once again, high-flying, big play offense against for Edgewood. Slow, grind out, just everyone knows what Garfield brings to the table. They did lose a lot last year. A lot of graduated, but Garfield has been good for a sustained amount of time that makes me feel like no matter what they lose, they're going to be okay. They're going to have exactly the same mentality. But yeah, I'm interested in this one because it's too, like Struthers and Beaver Local, it's two conflicting tempos. It's a team that wants to score fast and a team that wants to score pretty, slow and methodically. The one thing about Garfield, and this will be something to watch, and every team like that will include your Struthers and any team that runs a little bit of a slower, methodical offense. You get them behind early, then they're not built to come back necessarily. So if Edgewood can get off to a quick start, that'll be fun to key in on and see if Garfield can make a comeback. Fitch and Euclid. Ooh, this one's fun. Fitch, no more Deshaun Vaughn Jr., which that's going to be a tough pill to swallow for them. But I hear whispers and rumors that they have a lot of athleticism on this football team that's young and athletic. Some sophomores, some freshmen that we haven't seen yet. So very excited to see what I've been hearing these little birdies. If you're a Game of Thrones fans, have been saying, because it's kind of a mystery right now what Fitch is going to have. Fitch is always good. They're always going to be good. So this is going to be a good matchup. Jefferson, Girard. Girard's another team, kind of like Fitch, where I just don't know. There's a lot of unknowns. Unless you've been watching them practice, which I haven't been able to do. There's a lot of guys that are new to it that are probably very, very athletic. Girard has athletes. They're fast. They're always fast. They have one of the best track programs in the whole area because of it. So I'm not expecting anything less than speed and agility, but you just don't know what it's going to look like. It's a lot of question marks. And Jefferson under Coach Hanna again, I think last year was a transition year. They had a really, really good year, really strong year 2 years ago, kind of a transition. They're going to be a very experienced team, bringing all that transition back. And, they're hosting, and it's a hard place to play to go to Jefferson. So I want to see what Garfield brings to the table. I do. Same thing with both these teams. Hubbard, their offense is going to be the biggest question in this game because their defense is always good. It's going to be good. They were turning a lot on defense. They didn't allow a lot of points last year. They had a really good defensive effort last year. Their offense struggled, right? There was no question about it. Their offense could not kind of back up their defense at times. What strides are they going to make on the offensive side of the ball? And then with Brookfield, like a lot of teams that we're going to talk about today, lost a lot. And there's a lot of question marks, a lot of unknowns that you're going to find out in week one. I think that's what's beautiful about these week one matchups. A lot of adjustments probably mid-game. Coaches see something that maybe they haven't seen in scrimmages or practices because they're a little less structured. Now here we go. It's game time. What are these kids that are new? How are they going to react to the lights? And it's all fun. It's all fun in week one when these teams that are not returning as many players, what they have in store for week one, because it's fun to see how coaches handle it. And we have so many good coaches in the area that are good at mid-game adjustments. So it's fun to see them kind of have to navigate, okay, I thought this was going to work through going through practices and scrimmages. And then you get into the third quarter and you realize this is not working. Maybe we should do something else. Or maybe you get into the third quarter and you're saying, I still believe this will work and I have to keep grinding for it. So very interesting to see what Brookfield will do. Boardman and Kinston, that's a tough first game of the year for Boardman. The Bombers are a very good football team. And Boardman trying to just build success in their program. Lakeside going to East Lake North. That'll be fun. We saw Lakeside's Coach's Corner in the Lake Show with Sam Torres. New coach and champion. McDonald is a team that I think is going to be very, very good this year. I'm having them at like 8 wins, that one of those 8-win teams. A very tough draw for champion to open up the season. Very intrigued to see what kind of style of play they have under a new head coach. But a very tough draw for the first game of the year. I think McDonald is very under the radar right now. And it's weird to say that about a McDonald team because football, they're almost never under the radar. But I feel like they've been a little bit underachieving the last couple of years that made people kind of forget how good of a program they are and what they kind of have to offer. They had a couple of injuries happen in the middle of the season last year. I think they're going to be really a great football team that's going to contend for that MVAC championship. Cardinal Mooney is a team as well. I think they're going to be one of the best teams in the area. They seem very poised to be rock solid football team. I'm watching them last year. They didn't lose a ton, and I'm looking, I'm like, they don't have a lot of holes in this team. Their offensive line is very good. Their skill position players are very good. They have a quarterback that keeps his head on straight. Their defense is solid. Their secondary is especially good, especially for this level of football. I really like what I see from Cardinal Mooney. I'm very impressed. I think we could be looking at one of the teams that makes a very deep playoff run in Mooney this year. We go to Middle Ridge, traveling the Pymatuning Valley. Both big teams. Pymatuning Valley is known for being big, right? They have big players. I don't know what they do down there at the lake to get these big players, what they're eating down there in Andover, but they're always just the offensive line and defensive line, mind you. Just you walk into the field and you go, man, these kids are just massive, and they move pretty well. So it'll be a tough task for Middle Ridge to find a way to navigate those big trees in the middle. But Middle Ridge, Owen Shingledecker, quarterback now. It's his show. No Ian Erb anymore. Who's going to take that spot? Like a lot of teams, I don't want to beat the dead horse, but Middle Ridge is another team. A lot of question marks, right? What's it going to look like with a lot of new players and a lot of new roles? We just got the Louisville Coaches Corner up today. Louisville, a very hungry program. I think really talented this year and a lot of experience coming back from last year. I think once again, they're poised for another program kind of defining season. They've kind of been, going through it for a while, but I believe in Coach Kappas. I loved watching his interview, his Coach's Corner episode 1. He believes in this team more than I think I've seen him believe in a team before. Which is saying something because he always believes very hard, but you can hear it in his voice. He expects this to be a team that makes some noise, especially on the defensive side of the ball. Tough task though in the week 1. New Philadelphia, no joke at all. I like this matchup in the next one, East Palestine versus Newton Falls. Tigers and Bulldogs, both teams that are kind of trying to become a program that's back in the conversation. East Palestine, they need wins, but they got a taste of success last year, right? Even some of their losses, they were like, we're right there. We're really making those steps forward. And can they keep making those steps is a big question. Can they keep believing in Coach Dempster and everything that he's putting in front of them? Can they keep making those strides? Because I saw the images last year of, okay, this can be a football team that can get wins. Saw it. It's right there. It's right there if they can just reach out and grab it. And this is a good opportunity hosting a Newton Falls team that's trying to do the same thing. Trying to be that, it's right there. You just got to grab it. Newton Falls is going to come in and try to run the ball a lot. They're a really good running team. So East Palestine defense will have to do that, and they're not going to have a lot of opportunities on offense. Anytime you play a team that runs the ball a lot, your possessions go way down, right? Against a non-running team or a faster offense, you might get 16, 17 possessions a game. Against a running team that slows the clock down, maybe you're down to 11 or 12 possessions per game. So East Palestine cannot waste the times they get the ball. Cheney and East, I should say, very fun one there and there. I think Cheney, they got this one locked, I got to say. I think Cheney's at a roll in week 1. No problem there. Very interested in Poland versus Salem. Like I said, last year, Salem was in a little bit of a transition year where they had to get a lot of new guys, a lot of opportunities, and a lot of experience. And they took their lumps doing that, which is what you're going to do with that kind of year. When you have so many seniors graduate the year before, so many talented seniors that really did so much for your program, you're going to have a little bit of a grace period, right? Grace period's over now for Salem. And I think that they're bringing back a great core from last year that kind of doesn't want that taste back in their mouth again. But this is a big test going to Poland. Always physical, always big, always strong. What's it going to look like? I think it's going to be a very low-scoring game. Wouldn't be shocked if we see neither team get above 20. Turnovers are going to be a big factor in this one as well. South Range and Springfield talked about this one a lot on Wednesday with Scotty. South Range is the favorite, quote unquote. I think that's pretty evident. But one of the things that you do in rivalry games, especially once they're a seed, is this: you take all that nonsense, you crumple it up into a ball, and you throw it out the window, because these two teams would love nothing more than to beat each other. I talked about this on the show on Wednesday. Springfield is going to look at this game as the most important game on their schedule, I think, especially the fans and the alumni. There's probably some people in Springfield that are of the mindset that, like, hey, if we have to go 1-9, which they won't, but hey, if we do, but that one win is against South Range, let's go. I'm all for it. We have to beat the Raiders. We cannot lose to South Range. And South Range has to handle this game the same way. I don't know how deep the rivalry is anymore. They're not in the same conference. They're not really as heated, I feel like, as they used to be, but they have to handle it like it is, right? They have to key in and bring that energy, because Springfield will bring the energy. They will bring everything they have at you. Like, this is the most important do or die game. I promise you, Springfield's going to play as if this is like game 7. Oh, what am I saying? Baseball. As if this is like championship win or go home. So South Range has to match that energy from the top. They can't let Springfield come in and be the team with the momentum from the start. They can't be ho-hum. They can't take it for granted. And they can't overlook Springfield. They have to match that energy. And if they do, South Range will be okay. But if they don't, Tigers can come in and be sneaky on you. Sean Guerrero always has at least one trick play that he likes to pull off. So we'll see how that does tonight against the Raiders and Tigers. Southern Local hosting Uniontown Local. Southern, no secrets. They're a physical running football team, right? So they're going to try to slow this ball down, and the Jets live up to their name. It's another one, like a lot of others, conflict of tempos, right? Who's going to control the clock? Minerva has been struggling as a football program for a while, so United going down there. The Eagles look like they're the clear favorites in that one, but I've been told by a couple of coaches outside of the EBC that Minerva's starting to do things the right way, and they could be a team that is much improved this year. We'll see. We'll see tonight in Minerva, because United is if you're a team that's trying to be improved, it's a tough week 1 draw. Latonia, kind of like East Palestine, looking for positivity in their program. They are hosting Fairport Harding to open up the season. Really interested in this Wyndham-Lisbon game. Wyndham, a team that has been hit by the injury bug more than most the last couple of years. So you feel like their record the last 2 years kind of not exactly evident of how good they are. And now they're healthy. Like, they're 100% healthy. They have everyone back. They have a new look, new helmet. I don't know if you've seen them. They're fire. Lisbon coming off, though, a very good year last year, a 7-win year for the Blue Devils. So they have a lot of momentum as a football program, right? This is a very interesting game. You have one team that feels like they're finally back to where they can win and they can prove how good they are. And then another team that kind of wants to prove that last year wasn't a fluke and they are a good football team and they are gonna have another good year. I'm very interested in this matchup. Don't sleep on Lisbon Wyndham. Could be very fun. I'm very interested in LeBray and Lordstown as well. LeBray needs a very fine consistency this year. Last year, it felt like sometimes we'd see a very good LeBray team and then they'd fall off, and then a very good LeBray team, and then not so good the next week. So they were young. I get it. It's kind of like Salem, like grace period over. Let's get consistent. Let's have that good LeBray team that we saw a handful of weeks last year be there all 10 weeks for the Vikings. Speaking of Vikings, Waterloo going to be hosting Akron Springfield. So this will be 2 Springfields in one season for the Vikings, as they'll play our Springfield in the MVAC. Gotta love Waterloo down there. Tough place to play. The crowd's right on you. Excited to see what they have in store. Lakeview's been like knocking on the door of being a good football team. Can they finally make that stride and get the wins that fell through their fingertips the last couple of years. This is going to be a good one. Holy Name against Lakeview. We have Archbishop Hoban. Everyone knows what they're about. They're a very talented team. They're a state championship conversation type team. They're going to be playing teams that I frankly know nothing about. Like tonight, I don't know anything about this team from Maryland coming in. But, we'll see if the Knights can get a victory. And they went 9-0 last year to start. And then they won in a lot of different ways, too, which is always interesting. Welcome to the Ysn family, the Southeast. They'll be traveling to Kenmore Garfield, so excited to see what their program is about. Campbell, we have had a chance to talk to Andrew King twice. We've had 2 coaches' corners already for him. One is part of the Campbell Memorial Show on Tavern 26, and then the other one is a season preview that we had a couple of weeks ago here on Running Point. So a couple of conversations with Andrew King. This is a senior-heavy team, a leadership-filled team that is kind of very hungry, right? They feel like it's finally their time, and they're bringing some young athletes in line. I think this will be a very disciplined Campbell team that will actually, surprise a lot of people. Mohawk and Neshannock are PA representatives over there. Mohawk, very decent team last year, and Neshannock's a tough draw in the first game, though. Orange should have the upper hand going to Beechwood. And then Valley Christian, little bit of a rocky season last year. But when I say big and fast, when I was talking about other teams earlier, you don't really see a lot of big and fast combinations. Valley Christian has that, right? They have big, they have fast, right? They have guys that are just big and imposing, but also move really well. So that's going to be what they're taking into Malvern tonight, and Valley Christian trying to just find ways to make game-winning plays. You watched them last year, and you kind of felt like down the stretch they would make a few mistakes here and there that are just detrimental to winning. So they're going to try to just make those game-winning type plays because they're good enough to win a lot of football games, right? Everyone knows how talented they are. They're very talented. They just got to key in, finish down the stretch. They had a couple of games last year that were just like head scratchers, probably for Coach Hake too. Like, how did we find a way to unravel down the stretch of this game? Which happens. It's football, and it's youth football, right? They're kids. It's gonna happen. So, not trying to be judgmental. It's the reality, right? They lost a couple of games that they probably feel like they should have won last year, and they lost them down the stretch of the game, not being able to execute in the fourth quarter. So they're going to that's probably one of the things that they really drilled in this summer. Like, we got to make these game-winning plays down the stretch of games. Got to. If you thought that was the end of football, these 32 games on tonight, you would be wrong, because we also have to talk about tomorrow. We have a couple of games on tap on Saturday, not nearly as many. In fact, we have 2, but we still want to give them their due. East will be going to Whetstone, and then Ashtabula St. John opens up the season at Trinity. That will be not at Trinity High School. I believe it's going to be at Garfield Heights High School. I believe it's at a different location. I could be wrong, though. I'll confirm that. We'll get that to you if that location has changed. Volleyball tomorrow. There's a tri-match going on in Howland. West Branch, Howland, and Jefferson will be there. Hoban going to be hosting Revere. We have Girard hosting East Liverpool. The Potters beat Girard last year in 5 in the Potter Fieldhouse, and now Girard gets a chance at them in Girard. Mooney will be at hosting McDonald. I will be there for that one. Lakeside has Kirtland. Louisville has Boardman. That should be a really fun matchup. Canfield going to Ursuline tomorrow. Carrollton going to Edison tomorrow as well. We have some boys soccer tomorrow. East Palestine, Heartland Christian, Columbiana Girard, Crestview and Ursuline, Louisville and Archbishop Hoban. Then girls soccer tomorrow. South Range hosting Harvey. United hosting Minerva. Columbiana traveling to Girard. And Louisville hosting Nordonia tomorrow. So those are kind of the slate for the weekend and the games that are happening before we'll see each other on Monday. I'll bring up the Friday scoreboard one more time and scroll through it so you can see the games that are happening tonight, and then we'll go over the broadcasters that will be covering tonight's game. So there you go. Beaver Local, Struthers, Canfield, West Branch, Carrollton, East Liverpool, Columbia and Lowville, Perry and Madison, Edgewood and Garfield, Fitch hosting Euclid, Girard Jefferson, Brookfield Hubbard, Kinston Boardman, Lakeside and Eastlake North, McDonald Champion, Mooney and Lake Center, Lake Catholic, I should say, Middle Ridge and Pymatuning Valley, New Philadelphia and Louisville, Newton Falls, East Palestine, Akron East Cheney, Salem at Poland, South Range hosting Springfield, Union Local at Southern Local, United at Minerva, Fairport Harding at Latonia, Wyndham at Lisbon, Lordstown at LeBray. We have Akron Springfield at Waterloo, Holy Name at Lakeview, Archbishop Hoban hosting Archbishop Spalding, Southeast going to Kenmore Garfield, Campbell going to St. Thomas Aquinas, Mohawk and Neshannock, Beechwood hosting Orange, and then Valley Christian going to Malvern. So let's go and see what games are covered and who's going to be covering tonight as broadcasters and give them a shout out before we get out of here. So here are the games on the network tonight. A full slate, of course, like there will be every Friday. And here you go, a football side of things. Mike McKenzie and Tom Otto will be at Beaver Local and Struthers. We have Gary Burton going to be at East Liverpool versus Carrollton. We'll have Eric Hughes at Lowville versus Columbiana. Perry and Madison will be covered by Perry School Broadcast System. So will Garfield and Edgewood. Tim Corso will be at Fitch for Euclid and Fitch. Scott Demos and Sam Torres will be at Jefferson for Jefferson and Girard. Zach Svensson and Braden Bala will be at Hubbard for Brookfield Hubbard. We have Donnie Riccatelli and Don Muscola at Boardman for Kinston and Boardman. Eastlake North and Lakeside will be covered by Tyler Hartz and Sean Prine. We have Noah Ricks covering McDonald and Champion. Chris Sigler and Gary Altizer will be there at Mooney for their game against Lake Catholic. Chad Paul and Larry Jennings will be covering Pymatuning Valley and Middle Ridge. We have Rob Johnson covering Louisville, Tim Figley covering East Palestine, Anthony Malone and Ben Santiago covering Cheney and Akron East. Matt Romeo and Chris Colucci going to be in Poland for Salem against Poland. DJ Oakley will be at South Range with Sam Bellino. Larry Scragg will be having covered at Southern Local versus Union Local. Derek Rhodes has you covered for United at Minerva. Owen Klein will be at Latonia against Fairport Harding. Noah Doty and CJ Schroeds going to be at Lisbon for their matchup with Wyndham. Dakota Costal will be at LeBray for their matchup with Cardinal. And then last but not least, we have Orange's School Broadcast System. They're covering their game against Beechwood. And those are the games that will be covered, broadcasted tonight. Tomorrow, here's the broadcast schedule as well. We will have the St. John game broadcasted by Sam Torres tomorrow. Wellsville and Steubenville Central Catholic also playing tomorrow, as well as Beaver at Westinghouse. They will be playing tomorrow as well. Volleyball, Ty Bartell will be at Hoban. I will be at Mooney for McDonald and Mooney. And Rob Johnson will be in Louisville for Boardman Louisville. And then boys soccer tomorrow, Matt Marr will be in Girard as they will host Columbiana. And Dom Polkovich will be at Ursuline for their matchup with Crestview. Rob Johnson will also be at the Louisville soccer matchup against Nordonia, and Matt Marr will also be covering the girls soccer matchup with Girard and Columbiana. That's going to be a doubleheader with boys and girls at 12 and 2. So that is everything that's going down the next 2 days. We've gone over it all, and we are so excited for you. Football Friday nights coming at you very quickly. Audible Call will also be there too tonight with Mike Ackelson aboard. We will flip through all the games. We'll get you all the scores, all the touchdowns that you would want, and give you kind of a zoomed out look of the action tonight. We have a comment from Radar. Dude, that's okay. We will miss you at the Audible Call, buddy, and hope to see you there soon. Radar is a good guy, and we love having him at the Audible Call. Once again, all the games tonight, ysnlive.com/live is where you can find them. We want to thank you so much for tuning in today to Running Point, brought to you by our good friends over at Greenwood Chevrolet in Austintown. Also want to remind you to tune in to Power Hour Super Show, 3 o'clock. DJ and a lot of our personalities and announcers will be there talking about all the games they'll be covering tonight. They'll have their picks as well. So if you want to watch guys decide who they think are going to win these games, Power Hour Super Show, 3 to 4. So we have blocked out 3 to 4, and then Audible Call and games starting at 7. Tune into all of it. We'll see you on Monday from 1 to 2 on Running Point, brought to you by our good friends over